everybody, Edo here, and this is Fire in the Library by Tony Miller and John Prather, published by Weird Giraffe Games, and it is live on Kickstarter now, and Fire in the Library gets huge points for how novel the theme is. It's really neat. You're saving books from being burnt in the library. Neat might not be the best word for it, but at the same time, as you're trying to save books, different parts of the library are burning, and as they do, those section of books, that color of books for what it's worth, is getting more and more valuable because there are less and less in the world. So as long as that section doesn't completely burn, those books that you've collected from of that type are going to be worth more points. Basically, the game ends when one section burns all the way to the ground. This is a pretty straightforward push-your-luck game with some very interesting mechanics. First and foremost, I have a bag here with a bunch of cubes. The cubes represent the four colors of the books, yellow, white, black, and purple, as well as fire, which are the red cubes. One of the neat things about the games is some of the red cubes are out of the bag to start, and as you play and as the fire spreads, you end up adding cubes into the bag, increasing the chance of getting a fire. The other thing here is that players have these cards, and they represent turn order as well as sort of risk. And based on your position and scoring, you will get to pick first. And whether you go first, second, or third is a pretty big deal because of how these cards work. So you see there's a number of slots, and what you're going to do to push your luck in this game is you're going to pull out a cube and put it in a slot, and it's random. And if you get a book, that's great. But if I get a fire, and I'm just going to take one of these for the purpose, if it's in one of the empty cubes, I'm okay. Everything doesn't start burning until I have two. Or if I'm in a fire slot, one cube means everything's on fire. So going first, there's only one safe spot, whereas going third, there are a whole lot more. What you're trying to do is draw blocks, and if I was playing, and in a number of games it was the case, I just draw 5 books in a row. I score awesome points. You get the value of each book based on how their library portion is doing, plus you can get a bonus value for being a big risk taker. But on the other hand, if you pull a bunch of red squares, you're going to be having a hard time, and then you'll switch phase. One of the things I really like about this game is they have really clear phases, and there's getting turn order, there's saving the books, there's dealing with the fire spreading, and then after scoring, and that ties well into tools and items. So the last piece of this is you do have tools, and you can get more. And tools let you move fire away, put fire out, get more books, save books along the way, just do lots of little neat things that help mitigate and amplify push your luck. Also, I didn't probably mention it, but if I burn up and I don't deal with the fire, I don't get any of the books. And those books burn in the library. So that process works well. It's really quick. Everyone's going to keep scoring along the way. And then, as I mentioned, when one of the rows ends, it closes. I thought that the novelty in the play and the sort of theme worked really well, and it feels fresh. You know, it's got that nice. Oh, okay, we're saving books. This is sort of weird. Let's check it out. There are two things that I think could be improved upon a little bit. So one is who would have known it, but pulling cubes out of a bag is not that exciting. like dice out of a bag is more exciting, but cubes, these are just these small little cubes. I really hope, I haven't seen the Kickstarter campaign, I can only imagine that these will turn into books with a little bit more size. I certainly hope that's the case, because I think it needs that extra little hook in there, because you're pulling out cubes. The other thing that comes out is it has a little bit of a leader can get ahead, simply because if you have a couple really strong moves, you can really leap ahead, and yes, it's push your luck, so you might have been really lucky, and then other people weren't, but there isn't, what this game needs some refinement on, is there aren't enough ways to sort of go big that you can control. The sections of the book sections are burning at whatever rate they are sort of doing randomly, and you're drawing randomly, so there isn't really a big way to say, well, I'm going to be really risky this turn. Because ultimately these all have the same amount of squares, and you can't say, I'm only going to reach into this section, you're reaching into the bag. It's a quibble, but I do think some dynamics that fall out of that could be better, so there might be ways perhaps to improve that. Maybe there's a way to add different books in there or do some other things. I don't know. It's super solid. It's very solid, but those are my things. The cubes weren't really doing it for me. Obviously, the flames can't be like flames. I'm going to feel my hand in there, but maybe they're red books. But also, just a little bit about, I like how this push your luck worked, but it needs a little bit more way for me to sort of double down in a way that I can at least feel like I can come back in if I've had a couple bad hands and somebody's had a couple bad pulls and a couple good pulls. But this is Fire in the Library, and it is live on Kickstarter. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.